What's up, guys? On to the Command Universal Sidewall tutorial. So when I tie my sidewalls, I like going about halfway. So I usually string 10 sidewall diamonds. I like going about halfway and then switching sides and then kind of going back and forth at the very end. But I'm just going to string this one all the way through. I just wanted to set it up on the other side. This helps you keep kind of more of an even pocket at the very end of things. I actually string the left side with my left hand and the right side with my right hand as well to try to keep it as even as possible. But that's something that takes a little while to learn. So here's the actual tutorial as to how to string the right sidewall here. Going to tie our starting knot once again. The way I tie my starting knots is you're going to pinch it with the aglet out to the right, wrap it around the back once, wrap it around the back twice, and then come up the back side the third time and pull that tight. It just creates kind of a fat knot. Nothing necessary, but kind of a nice little touch to make sure nothing's slipping. We're going to be tying this first 10 diamond row to the third sidewall hole here. So as you can see, we tied our top string to the second sidewall hole. We're going to go outside in and go up through the first 10 diamond row. I like making sure when I wrap the sidewalls, if I can, to wrap this little extra piece of mesh. That's just an aesthetic thing. It doesn't really make any difference. So I'm coming up through it once. I'm going to double wrap this one because you guys are so worth it. Then I'm going to skip a sidewall hole and tie an anchor knot on the fifth sidewall hole. So what that is I'm going outside in, leaving a little bit of space, going up the second sidewall hole, and then down through the left side, as you can see here, and out to the right. So when I pull this, I'm actually going to pull the inside from the inside out to really tighten that, pinch it with my left hand, and then pull that anchor knot nice and tight. Just to repeat it for you guys in case you haven't tried an anchor knot before, you're going outside in, up through that second sidewall hole, leaving a little bit of space, down through from the left side to the right, so it's coming all the way out, pulling from the inside in, pinch it with your left hand, pull it tight. That's a solid anchor knot right there. Now you're going to skip, and on the next, so we're skipping and then tying a knotted SI. So I'm going to go down through the third sidewall hole, outside in, leaving a bit of space again, and now this ties just like the anchor knot did. So I'm going down this little space and out through the left. I'm not wrapping all the way around that string. See, it's kind of in between, finishing that little loop, pulling it tight from the inside. This is the most important part of a knotted SI. You got to pull tight from the inside, as tight as possible, pinch it with your back hand, and then tie this knot as tight as you can first. So you're essentially tying a 1, but then what you're going to do after that is you're going to go back up through this diamond and pull it all the way around. Now we're going to skip the next hole once again and tie another knotted SI. So we're going down through that sidewall hole, outside in, looping it around from left to right, pulling from the inside, pinch it with our left hand, pull that tight, going back up the fourth mesh diamond and pulling it tight once again. Now we're going to do something that I call an inverted knotted SI. This is something I haven't talked about yet, but it's really simple. We're tying this once again like we're tying just a normal knotted SI, but instead of having the mesh flipped so that the string is running along the inside of the mesh like it is here, we're going to make sure that it's running along the outside of the mesh like this. So it's a little nuanced thing, but now when I tie my knotted SI, I'm going outside in, going down through that little hole left to right, pulling it tight once again, but now instead of going up through and making sure it flattens out like this, and it's easy to see with the striker what it's doing because I can see the solid gray line. What I'm actually going to do is have this sit flipped so that the string and the knotted SI are sitting on the outside of that mesh. It's just going to allow the diamond to shift a little bit differently, but that's how we usually set up our stacked SIs. Now I'm going to be skipping a hole before I do my stack. So I'm skipping that hole, and to set up the stack, I start like I'm doing a 2. So I go down through one mesh diamond, down through the second mesh diamond, so this is diamond 6 and 7. I'm going outside in after skipping a hole, and then coming right back up. So not to the right side, but coming right back up to the left side like I were tying a normal interlock, okay? Then I'm going to go up through hole 7, through mesh diamond 7, up through mesh diamond 6, and pull that nice and tight. And that right there is a stacked SI. So just for you guys to see that one more time, you're going, skipping a hole, and then you're going to go down through 6, down through 7, outside in, coming up to the left-hand side, up through 7, up through 6, pull that tight. So that's your stacked SI, and that's where we're starting to get that catch point and really kind of the center focus point of our pocket theories. Now we're going to tie just a normal knot, which helps solidify that stacked SI. So I'm going down through the next sidewall hole, down through the left, out through the right, just like we were tying a normal knot before, pulling that as tight as possible. So I don't want to make sure, actually what can happen sometimes if you don't tie that knot strongly enough, tightly enough, and you leave it kind of loose like this, having that slack not only changes the catch point, but it can also create more wear and tear and more abrasion along this string. So when we tie that, we're going to really want to make sure we pull from the inside as much as possible, pinch it with our left hand so we're holding that tension, and then tying that knot really tightly so we can see we don't have much slack in that knot. From there, we're going to do a 1. So I always go down through the next diamonds. I don't go up, and there's an important reason for that, which I'll address in another video, but it allows more contact with the ball and it creates better hold. So you're going down through mesh diamond 8, outside in, tie your knot as tightly as possible, going down through 9, tying another knot as tightly as possible. Now we're finishing with a 1 skip. So we've got 2 1s after that stacked SI. Now I'm going down through the last sidewall hole, and I'm going to go inside, from the inside out of this second to last sidewall hole. That's going to allow the pocket to bag a little bit lower, and then I'm going to tie it off again the same way I tied off the top string. So simple overhand knot, tie another overhand knot with that overhand knot coming underneath the first one. So as I cinch it down, I'm creating one big old fat knot to take up that space. That's your sidewall. I'm going to blitz you through the other side real quick. So there are both your sidewalls, and this is what the pocket looks like before it's broken in. It's way too tight. It sits way too low. It's kind of chunky. So if you're at that step, don't worry. We're going to install the throat string really quickly, and then we're going to pound it in. So for the throat string, I always use a lace more for aesthetics. It doesn't really matter what you use. Now the mesh is strong enough that it can handle a sidewall string at the throat. I just tie a nice little overhand to start, going outside in of the leftmost hole. And now I'm going to tie this on the next 9 diamond row. So if we can see here, I tied off my last one on the last 10 diamond row. I'm going to go up through the left side of this 9 diamond row, down through the 5th diamond. So if you see here, I've gone up through number 1. I'm going to go down through not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5, right down through there. Now I'm going to go from the outside in of the second throat hole, inside out of number 3, back up through that 5th diamond, and back down through diamond number 9, inside out. That's how I'm tying my throat lace. On the command, you can keep it a little tight, just because it does tend to sag a little lower with the mesh. But there's that. Now I'm going to pound it out. You can see here, say hi to Derek. Hi, Derek. See here, I'm going to want to pound out a little bit up top. I don't go quite as crazy as String King does. If you need a pocket pounder, you can buy them at our website. Haha. So just rubbing that ball through pretty easily. With Hero Mesh and this stick, it's pretty straightforward. This mesh is pretty soft and breaks in pretty easily. Now you can see I've got a much more kind of mid-pocket focused head, much more gradual channel, a lot easier to handle, and that is the sidewall and throat string for the Command U.